The house that remembers. The house sat at the end of a long, winding road, nestled between towering trees that whispered in the wind. The air smelled of damp wood and moss, the scent of something ancient lingering beneath the fresh paint and newly installed fixtures. The couple had found it in an online listing, a beautiful Victorian-era home with sprawling porches, intricate woodwork, and more rooms than they knew what to do with. It had been on the market for years too long for a home so grand. They moved in on a bright autumn afternoon, the leaves scattered in golden piles across the yard, the scent of crisp air filling their lungs. Everything felt perfect. The house had character, history, a presence that seemed to welcome them with open arms. But at night, the house changed. The first evening was uneventful. Boxes were unpacked, rooms arranged, the glow of warm lights making the vast space feel like home. They fell asleep early, exhausted from the move. The house was quiet. Then, at exactly 3:12 a.m., the floorboards creaked. Not just a single sound, but a pattern. A slow, deliberate series of steps, starting from the far end of the upstairs hallway. The rhythmic creak moved forward, floorboards groaning under unseen weight. It passed the guest rooms. It turned at the landing. It descended the stairs, one step at a time, then silence. The house settled again, as if nothing had happened. The couple dismissed it at first. Old houses made noise. Wood expanded, contracted. The wind whispered through cracks. But the next night, at 3:12 a.m., it happened again, and the next. And the next. Always the same pattern. Always the same time. The couple began to notice other things. The air was always colder at the top of the stairs. The grand chandelier in the entryway swayed slightly, even when no windows were open. Objects shifted ever so slightly from where they had been placed. A glass left on the counter would be found on the table in the morning, a chair slightly pulled out. The scent of something metallic lingering in certain rooms stronger at night. The house was remembering. The history of the place had been buried beneath layers of renovations and realtor pitches. But the walls had witnessed things. The floors had absorbed footsteps and blood. The air itself held onto something unseen, something unfinished. The couple began researching, newspaper archives, old police records. The house had belonged to the Wendells, a family who had lived there nearly a century before. Their story was a tragedy. One night, in the dead of winter, the father had risen from his bed. He had walked down the hall.
His footsteps were slow, measured like he was in a trance. He descended the stairs. He entered the parlor.
There, in the dim glow of the fireplace, he had taken an axe to his wife and 2 children. Then, covered in their blood, he had walked back up the stairs, returned to his bedroom, and slit his own throat. 3:12 a.m. Every night, the house relived it, step by step. The couple, now knowing the truth, tried to ignore it, tried to sleep through it, tried to pretend the house was just a house. But the house remembered them too. One night, the footsteps did not stop at the parlor. They continued, through the dining room, into the kitchen, and toward their bedroom door. The floorboards outside their room groaned under the weight of something unseen. The handle of the door twitched. The scent of iron and decay filled the air, then silence. The house settled again, but they knew it would not forget them. The last night, they lasted 2 more nights. The first night, they stayed awake, barely breathing, listening to the footsteps in the hallway. They could hear the way the boards groaned beneath the pressure, as though something heavy walked between the walls. The second night, the footsteps came earlier. At 2:58 a.m., the chandelier swayed violently. The doors creaked open on their own. The whisper of dragging fabric, of something unseen brushing against the walls, filled the air. Then the bedroom door opened, not by itself. Something turned the handle from the other side. The room was ice cold. The shadows in the corners deepened, stretching unnaturally as though something crawled from them. The air felt thick, pressing against their skin like invisible hands. And then they heard the breathing. Not their own. Low, heavy, just beyond the foot of the bed. They never saw it. They never wanted to. By dawn, they had packed only what they could carry. They did not speak. They ran. Down the stairs, out the front door, onto the dew-dampened grass of the front yard. They did not look back. Not until they were inside their car, engine roaring, gravel spraying from the tires as they sped away. Only then, only when they had put miles between themselves and that place, did the wife dare to glance into the rearview mirror. The house stood still, shrinking into the distance. The porch empty, the windows dark. But in the upstairs window, their bedroom window, something stood there, watching. Smiling, remembering,